so that everybody wins a little bit. It's not easy, but we need to do it. We did talk about this, we talked about this, we talked about this. So what can we do? What can we do in order to try to develop, or maybe to enhance, not to develop, but maybe to enhance the relationships between China and the rest of the world? And more importantly, between China and India. Yeah? I think we need to look at building strategic alliances. Strategic means, again, long term, right? How do we look at these emerging economies? Now, we have this wonderful initiative by the Chinese government, which is the Belt and Road Initiative, right? Where it's trying to attract as many countries around the world into the old Silk Road route. Yeah? So now we can also see that the Chinese government is very wisely doing something in trying to engage a lot of players around the world and develop economic ties with them. But my role today is to truly tell you that the relationship between China and India can be an absolute game changer. The possibilities are endless. And again, this has to be a two-way street. Most of you, how many of you here are engaged in manufacturing and potentially exporting something, any product? How many of you are manufacturing or exporting? So most of the people here are interested, and in general, most of the people in China would be interested in how can we produce more? How can we find different markets? How can we enter different markets to position our products in those markets? But you also have to think about how can we do something in reverse. Yeah. As I said, 1.3 billion people in India, 1.3 billion people, all of them needing, a flat screen TV, all of them needing an action camera, all of them needing some new smartwatch, all of them needing some, a security system in the house, all of them needing new furniture. I've seen this furniture mall, and where is Jason? Jason already left? No, not the other Jason. He already left. I've seen the other furniture mall, yes. Unbelievable. No, I really mean that. And in Foshan, if you drive on this main road, you will see tens, if not hundreds of stores like that. And then further down, we went into like what it is, 1 or 2 kilometers of stores. I don't know what that area is called. So the manufacturing capacity in India is tremendous. It's huge. But now we need to be able to find a market where to position those products. Because otherwise we end up with a crisis of oversupply. And if we oversupply, then we need to drop the prices, and then everything kind of goes down from there. So we need to look into how do we connect the dots, how do we move stuff into other places. Improving organizational efficiencies through global collaborations. So global collaborations, of course, is not the only game in town. As I said, now we have the emerging Eastern Europe. It's another big block, another huge opportunity. Turkey, as I said, another opportunity. The Middle East. There are many, many opportunities around the world, but the focus that I want to present here to you today is India. And we can talk in an open discussion after this about how and who do you connect with in India in order to get some concrete information about how do you position your products there. Now, briefly, I'm going to say that the emergence of the global marketplace and its role in the commercial exchanges. Is there anybody here that has not heard of this very small company named Alibaba?
Very small.
Compared with Global Box, Alibaba is going to be just a drop in the ocean, I promise you. Jack Ma, if you hear this, you can talk to me about that. Anyhow, It's wonderful. We are here in the Alibaba room, and I'm telling you about the emergence of globalbox.world. The world is becoming more integrated because of these technologies that facilitates commercial exchanges. Everybody has laughed at my question when I said, have you heard of Alibaba? If I was to pose this question 20 years ago, in 1998, that Alibaba was not even in Jack Ma's mind in 1998. They started in 1999. Well, maybe Jack Ma was thinking about it. But at the time, he was a professor, and he was not probably thinking about doing something on the internet. And for the first 5 years of their existence, of Alibaba's existence, Jack Ma went to the Chinese government, please help us, let's try to develop some collaborative structure where we can, and the Chinese government, you know what was saying? It was saying, the internet? What's that? Tell me what?
No. Forget it.
Okay. But now, when the Chinese government has realized how important for the economic development of the country this kind of technology becomes, it actually becomes not important, but critically important. Because through a company like Alibaba, through Tmall and Taobao and Tencent and all these guys, right? Now you are creating even more jobs because more people are buying more stuff. Now, today I'm coming here and I'm asking you, how many of you have heard of Global Box? And just a few. But 20 years from now, when someone is going to ask you if you have heard of Global Box, you will be laughing, just like you are laughing today about me asking you about Alibaba. Why am I putting this to you? Because it's important to realize that the world is getting connected, is getting far more interconnected, but there needs to be some sort of a medium that facilitates the commercial exchanges. It is not very easy for people or manufacturers or wholesalers or retailers less so, but it's not very easy for manufacturers and wholesalers to actually physically reposition their products in a different country because of all the impediments, all the hurdles, all the obstacles. What do you have? You have governmental restrictions, you have taxes and excises and all sort of things, regulation, all sort of restrictions. But these kind of platforms, Alibaba, Global Box, less so maybe Tmall and Taobao because they're more China oriented, but Alibaba for sure, it becomes an enabler, it becomes a facilitator through which you can actually position your products worldwide. Global Box is my company. I've designed this company. I've started it 5.5 years ago. And it's truly meant to connect any manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer with the consumer. But manufacturer with wholesalers, with retailers, with the end consumer, anywhere in the world. Right now you have, how many of you are familiar with a company called Rakuten? Rakuten. So you see, one person knows. Rakuten is a Japanese, Rakuten, R-A-K-U-T-E-N, Rakuten.
Is that online shopping mall?
Yes.
Korean.
No, it's Japanese. Yeah. How many of you are familiar with a company called Flipkart? Flipkart.
India.
Not very many people. So what happens around the world, you have some clusters, geographic clusters, where different companies dominate the picture. But there is not a worldwide unifier of all these things. And this is what this global box is meant to become. It's meant to connect everybody with everything. So the question now is, how do we, again, in our products without actually moving the products overseas? Why? Because the moment you start moving the product overseas, before you sell it, move the product only when you sold it. The moment you start moving the products overseas, before you sell it, it becomes a problem because you don't know whether that product is going to get sold. And then you have the transportation cost, you have to warehouse the product somewhere. You understand? So a company such as Global Box, Alibaba probably also not probably, most definitely can also help you with that. But I think Global Box is more important because it truly gives you access to all the markets around the world. So in essence, all you need to do on any one of these platforms, you upload your products, and then we do global marketing, and then we find buyers for your products everywhere in the world. Furniture, appliances, ceramic tile, construction material. It doesn't matter what it is. So again, how do we connect the world? What sort of platforms do we utilize in order to be able to showcase and to facilitate commercial exchanges among companies, among countries? And I really like, I got to tell you, I really like Jack Ma. I think he's extremely intelligent. And unlike Jeff Bezos, Jack Ma is also someone that understands the importance of people. Alibaba has invested a lot in growing their own people. And I think that's the right way of doing things. I just think that there is one little bit of an issue with Jack. He doesn't think as global as I'm thinking. He thinks worldwide, but probably not in the same way. I'm going to give you just one little feature about this global box, and that's different. It connects local retailers. How many of you are engaged in retail? Like David, you have a retail store, right? Like you have a retail store where you can sell, like local store, where you like a showroom. Yeah. You see, the beauty of this thing is that of Global Box is that it looks at every retailer who has a shop in the city of Foshan. And then whenever someone launches the site from the city of Foshan, the system looks at how many vendors, how many people are selling stuff. And then it automatically, with one button, you click on that button and it shows you all the vendors, and then it shows you all the products which are physically located in your city. So it connects manufacturers not just with wholesalers and retailers from around the world, but also with the end consumers right here in the city. And it does this at every single location around the world. It doesn't matter whether it's Foshan, Guangzhou, Beijing, Berlin, Germany, or New York, United States. Different about this thing. Anyhow, so in a nutshell, I think we need to realize that the world is shifting, number one. The world is changing. That's the one thing that it's important to realize. Second, that the strategic relationships around the world are also shifting. And then the question is, how do we look? What do we look at? How do we take our existing competencies and leverage those so that we can capitalize on more opportunities in the next 5, 10, maybe even 20 years. So that's pretty much. Here are some of the things where I see a wonderful opportunity for Chinese manufacturers to actually leverage those, not just in India, but around the world, but India in particular. Furniture definitely is a big thing. This one is a very interesting one. It's not an export item, but travel. And travel can mean, again, two ways. You know, travel, it could mean getting people from overseas to come here, but also the Chinese population can go elsewhere. And earlier I was talking about education and you know, broadening your horizons. You can broaden your horizons by traveling, because when you see different cultures, you start learning how to count. You see, in Chinese, every 2-year-old kid can count. But I'm so happy that I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So it's important to travel, to discover new things, and to see things from different perspectives. Usually, I play a bit of a game. Ken, do we have a few more minutes so we can play a game?
You can have about 10 to 15 minutes before we have the break.
Okay.
Then you have a small break, and then we come back again.
Am I allowed to test their eyesight?
My eyesight?
No, their eyesight.
Oh, sure. Why not?
You guys, you have a good eyesight, right? What color is this card?
Blue and yellow.
You gotta look.
Yellow, come on.
Blue and yellow.
Blue. Forget about the yellow thing.
Yellow.
Blue.
Blue.
I don't
Blue.
see the yellow, black, no blue. White. No blue at all. Let me tell you, you guys are wrong. You guys are all wrong.
Tell them.
Huh?
Tell them.
Yellow,
Yellow.
black, and white.
Tell them they're wrong.
No, yeah, you're wrong. You guys are wrong.
Now you are wrong. Could you be all wrong? That you are seeing all blue.
Yes, it's blue.
They're saying you're wrong. They're saying you're wrong.
Show
They're
this side.
stupid. They're
Show
stupid.
this side again.
Everybody is right. Everything has two sides.
Actually,
Show this side to him. Yeah.
actually, everybody's wrong. Why? Because you didn't have a holistic perspective. Holistic means an overarching,
Yes.
You see, how many of you know about the Rubik's Cube? Rubik's Cube. You know the Rubik's Cube?
Yes. Six side. 魔方.
The moment.
Okay, so imagine that instead of this, I have that Rubik's Cube here. So we have 6 people looking from this side, from this side, from that side, from this side. 6 different people looking at the same thing. And one guy is seeing blue, the other one is seeing red, the other one is seeing white, the other one is seeing yellow, the other one is seeing whatever. And now who's right and who's wrong?
It's like the blind people touching the elephant.